Welcome to Resilience Redefined. I'm your host, Michael Ostrolenk. This show is about building better humans, institutions, and systems. On the show, I'll be interviewing many different experts from across many different fields, including human optimization, health and fitness, team building, mind-body medicine. In the institutional space, we're looking at different institutions and how we can create new ones, new models and maps, including in medicine, in education, in intelligence community, in law enforcement, in the military, especially in the special operations community. Thanks for being here and enjoy the show.
Tonight, I'm joined by Hunter Ziesing. He's the founder of Longevity Health. Good to see you, Hunter.
Thank you.
Longevity Health is leading a movement of preventive and personalized medicine, helping people extend not just their lifespan, but their vitality and performance. The mission at Longevity Health is simple yet profound: to empower all of us to live longer, stronger, and more consciously. What an amazing mission, Hunter. It's good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. It's all about human optimization, something I just stole from you.
It's all good, man. So, obviously we want to dive into what you guys do at Longevity Health, like comprehensive blood work and DEXA scans and VO2 testing and sleep studies, and all the kind of great stuff. But before we get there, tell me about Hunter and like what led you into the field in general, and particularly to help co-found Longevity Health.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Always been an athlete my whole life, somewhat healthy. The way I eat, the way I sleep, the way I drink. I worked on Wall Street for 20 years when I got out of college, specializing in healthcare, consumer, and technology sectors. Did very, very well financially. Sadly, my dad passed away of pancreatic cancer in his early 60s when I turned 40, and which was somewhat detectable. It could have prolonged his health span had he detected that early. And then I lost 4 or 5 friends due to various cancer slash infectious diseases. Some were preventable, some were not. A wonderful girlfriend of mine died in her early 40s from breast cancer,
Oh.
totally detectable. I mean, she ignored it, but she didn't have the tools or the wherewithal to sort of, get in front of that. So I'm always been loving sports and nutrition and health, and I hated seeing my friends get sick and die, and I hated seeing my friends get fat. My fraternity brothers, when they all turned 40, were twice my size. I'm like, I got to do something about this. So I left and I started a nonprofit called the Charity of Choice Foundation, which was effectively an outdoor cycling and running event series all around the country. All of the proceeds went to leading cancer centers, um, benefiting Livestrong. So Lance Armstrong started remember the yellow bracelets?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, so what he did for survivors is something that I wanna do for, the health system, for people, to empower individuals with their data and give them the tools and the affordability to get in front of their health. So anyway, I spent 20 years more on the preventive side and fundraising, and then I went on to work for a company for 2 years called Paceline, which is a company that tracks your heart rate, and each week you elevated your heart rate to 150 minutes of elevated heart rate, we'd give you a reward as little as $1, like an Amazon gift card.
Uh-huh.
And we learned a lot there. The company's doing great. They're getting into insurance. But what we learned there was that people would fight to get to that 150 minutes each week. There was a financial element and there was a social element. It's like, hey, Mike, I've done 30 weeks in a row. You just lost a week, right? So what I learned there is you can drive behavior with social determinants of health and money. So that's kind of led to where I got into longevity and what I want to do long term with longevity. But anyway, that's how I got into the business. And I left Paceline and then partnered up with Jesse Levy, who was not from the medical world. He was in the fintech space. He was president of Credit Sesame, but he lost or had 2 of his grandfathers had heart disease and heart attacks in their early 50s, and he started getting worried about his own genetics. He's in his early 40s and started hacking like a lot of us are doing today because the medical system doesn't really support a lot of these tests that we're doing. He
Mhm.
spent 3 to 5 years sort of really hacking into his own biohacking and longevity, and then teamed up with a doctor who's head of UCSF San Francisco Emergency Medicine, is also a co-founder, and then we formed Longevity Health.
That's awesome. How long has Longevity Health been around?
We've been around almost 2 years.
That's awesome. And I do kind of want to dive into like exactly what you guys offer, how it works, the paradigm you guys are operating in. But, as we kind of spoke offline, you're kind of on the vanguard of a movement of redefining our whole system from sick care to healthcare, or human optimization is the word you use. To talk to us a little about what you're seeing more broadly, and then we can kind of dive into longevity health.
Sure, we're not alone. I was just in Vegas last week for the health tech conference. It's called HLTH Health. There's 12,000 people there. Huge companies, huge floor. It was at um, Bellagio and the Venetian. It was fabulous. Um, there's a huge movement into longevity. In fact, I think over $8 billion has been raised by venture capitalists in this space for longevity companies, from advanced testing to what's going on in AI around medicine, to analyzing big data sets and comparing it um, to your own health data. And more for what medicine is today, largely has been rear view mirror, but it's really switching more to proactive preventive medicine. There's been a lot going on in Washington over the last year as well. If you followed, obviously you're following what's going on in DC right now with the people fighting over the healthcare budget, but RFK and company has been doing a lot to focus on the food supply and other issues, drug company, drug pricing. They haven't brought drug prices down yet, but it remains to be seen. But they are making steps. Recently, Apple, I think Microsoft, Meta, and a few other tech giants were just, back in Washington, D.C., advocating for, open standards for consumer data so consumers can really own all of their own data. And that's something that companies like us can leverage your data that's specific to you to give you more informative and proactive measures that you can take to increase your health span. Lastly, I'm sure your viewers saw 60 Minutes
Yeah.
recently. Peter Attia was just on. Love the guy, love everything he says. I heard he's launching an app, so maybe he's going to be a competitor to ours.
Yeah, it's actually really cool to see both the money being spent into the space, but also the kind of publicity and the multiple conversations, and especially on podcasts, which seems to be the new medium for conversations, opposed to mostly television these days. With RFK, it's interesting too, because I've heard that previous to this administration, there's a lot of pushback, for instance, on peptides, and there's a lot of anti-psychedelic efforts, or at least slowing rolling of the psychedelics. We don't have to get into psychedelics, but the peptides seem to be less regulatorily burdened these days under this administration. Just a quick question: Do peptides play a role in the work that you guys all do at?
We have not. Some
Yeah.
of our patients do, but it's not something that we've pursued yet.
Okay.
Uh, but if a patient comes in is interested in peptides or is using peptides, we incorporate that into their platform.
Nice, nice. Offline, I actually teach it at Peptide University. We can talk about that if you're ever interested. Um, let's just jump into longevity health. So it's a company that you co-founded 2 years ago. And I know you guys, for instance, do like comprehensive blood work, 60 biomarkers. You do DEXA scans, VO2 max. I think you guys do sleep studies, microbiome tests. Like walk through like why you do all those tests and to what ends. And like, maybe we could just take me as a client, like say, hey, I call you up. I'm like, hey, I'm very interested in what you do. Walk me through the process. Why do you do what you do? And the outcomes I should expect as a consumer purchasing your product in the marketplace?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, we look at why. When people are calling us, we do a consultation with our medical team. So we have physicians, clinicians, exercise physiologists,
Mm.
and dietitians. We're all virtual. We're in most of the big states. Eventually, we'll be nationwide. We partner with the testing companies, and if we get better pricing, we will pass that on to our patients.
Mm.
But we start with why. Mike, why are you going? What's going on in your life? Have you had a health scare? Is there some disease that you're predisposed towards in your family? Are you overweight? Are what's going on in your life? And then we ask you if you've had any tests done. We download all your medical records, which are good, but it's mostly rear view mirror. And what we're discovering now is it's part of the solution and part of the problem. The solution is there's so many tests where you can put longitudinal data together and develop a much better look at your overall health profile, as well as develop a plan and then retest. So you sound like been looking at our site. Thank you.
Yeah.
So gut biome,
Yeah. Yep.
very important test, not that expensive. Blood tests. We test for 60 biomarkers, more if we need it. We find 60 is sufficient. Sometimes we tweak them a little bit depending on your, what's going on in your life.
Mhm.
We give everyone a CGM, whether you need it or not, glucose monitor. And we do a sleep study, and a VO2 max test.
Yeah,
And it's funny, being an athlete, I'm like, hey, when my VO2 is 65, right? I can brag about mine. Actually, it's lower, which I'll show you in a minute. But
Okay.
it's a very strong indicator of longevity to have a high VO2 max, and you can change your VO2 max, by doing some light intervals. So anyway, so then we look at all that. We look at the why, and then we say what's going on with the data, and then it all goes into our executive medical board, and we look at and we develop a plan for you based on what you want to achieve, and then we retest every quarter. So a lot of bricks and mortar clinics charge 20, 40, $50,000 for like a 2-day clinic, and they give you a bunch of recommendations and you send them on their way. We're up every orifice watching you, guiding. We give everyone a Slack channel or
Okay.
email or text, and we're in your face. So accountability is the next thing. But it's $11,000 relative to Peter Attia, who charges 150,000 or so, and there's a waiting list to get in. Good for Peter.
Yeah, good for him.
Absolutely. Our $11,000 product's called the Billionaire Bundle.
I
Now,
saw
I'm not
that.
crazy about the name because nobody seems to like billionaires, although there's a few more today. Nvidia hit 5 trillion, whatever. Um, the but the Billionaire Bundle is what a billionaire would get. So that's what we do, and then we check your markers every quarter, and we stay on top of you. And we've had incredible results. We've run about 100 people through the program, including myself. I found stuff in my body. I consider myself to be like wildly healthy and thin and athletic for my age, but I found visceral fat, low testosterone, vitamin D deficiency. Um, uh, there was a couple other things in my LDL that just, not red flags, but yellow flags.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad I do it. Now I'm motivated, and they're staying on me to to change up my training regimen and my diet. So
So,
that's
so
basically the program.
Yeah, so you gather all the information from the 60 blood markers, the DEXA scan, the glucose monitor, the microbiome tests. I think you also might do a sleep test too. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we just do a 1 or 2 days of sleep study. We're actually considering a new product. It's like 8 Sleep. It's a pad that goes under your bed.
Nice. Okay.
It's way better than I love Aura Ring and Whoop. All these, yeah, they're great, but they're not clinical. So if you have issues like sleep apnea and you have a medical grade product that we can give you, you can end up getting medication, even GLP-1s prescribed to you.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So anyway, that's the basic program, and now we're developing an AI product which I can demo on the call that takes away a lot of the doctor heavy lifting
Okay.
and reduces costs. So phase 2 will be $1,000 a year instead of $11,000 a year.
I'll make you host so you can share whenever you'd like to share.
I don't need to show you the screen. I guess I can. I could pull up. You want me to show you right now, or you want to wait?
Yeah, I definitely want to see what you're talking about, but let me throw something out there. Because I'm very interested in, and I work with individuals and couples who run groups and small teams, but I'm also very interested in institutions and systems and the evolutionary process from
Mhm.
one paradigm to another. I just want to share a story with you and kind of get your
Sure.
sense of like what you imagine. So you talked about the glucose monitor. All your clients get that. So when I tried to get insurance a couple of years ago, I was declined, and I was like, "Why was I declined? Oh, because you're pre-diabetic." What are you talking about? I'm pre-diabetic. I'm not pre-diabetic. Yeah, but you have a glucose monitor. I said, because I'm a biohacker. My doctor wants me to like modify, at very subtle levels, my diet so I'd never become pre-diabetic. And he wrote a letter to them explaining exactly why I have the thing. It's not, I'm not diabetic. I'm not even pre-diabetic. I'm actually trying to optimize my health. It didn't matter to them. I'll still decline insurance,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
terrible.
insane because I'm like, I should be the one that they'd want to have because I actually want to be healthy, you know? So my question for you is like, okay, how do you see yourself in the competition to like the insurance companies and the conventional medical system? Like, are there any pushbacks from these institutions against what you particularly are generally happening in the longevity movement? Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's lots of pushback. In fact, one of the three issues facing the consumer is lack of medical support.
Okay.
Because your typical doctor, you might go once a year. They might do a blood test.
Yeah.
Um, they might do an EKG.
Okay.
I've gone off and on for the last 20 years, and I've gotten nothing from it. And they won't pay for any of these tests. The medical system generally is not paying for these tests. But that I think is going to change in time. And by the way, I don't blame the doctors for not supporting the tests because they don't get paid for them either. They can't prescribe them. It's not part of their program, part of their insurance. And a lot of patients are starting to pay for this out of pocket. And a lot of my friends are going into their doctors with their blood tests and all this information that they're now using on our platform. And they walk into the doctor and it said, "Hey, Dr. Osterland, can you analyze this data for me?" And I'm like, "Did you buy this shit on Amazon?" It's like walking into a ski shop with your ski boots and your bindings and your poles and your jacket with a ripped pocket and saying, "Hey, mount my bindings for me. And by the way, can you fix the zipper? I bought it on Amazon." It's just the doctors are like, forget it. But they're coming around to it. And I think the first thing you're going to see, like right now, we're business to consumer, but we're starting to do a beta soon with a large company, and we'll do several of them where this will become B2B. So the
Oh,
companies will pay for it. And I
okay.
think I hypothesize the reason your employer will pay for it is because I will know more about Michael Ostrolenk and Hunter Ziesing than their actuarial insurance claims will ever have. I can tell them more about their future cost of healthcare because I'm going to have specific data on every employee. Moreover, I know exactly what Michael needs to get. He doesn't need an exercise physiologist. He doesn't need a gym pass. He doesn't need a calm subscription. He's fine. He's got, you know, B cell lymphoma in his genes and he's got some signs of this or that. He needs to go get tested for this or for that, right? And I think companies are going to be more apt to pay for that because we're going to reduce healthcare costs over time for companies and then eventually Medicaid. And back to Washington, you know, I think end of life care in this country is close to $2 or $3 trillion a year. Now, people are going to die. You on Medicare. Some people are going to have diseases they can't control, but a lot of stuff's preventable.
Mhm.
And end of life care could be reduced into trillions by increasing health span. Easier said than done. We can get into how I think we can change behavior with gamification, but I think the medical care system over time is going to start paying for some of these incredible tests.
Now, from your lips to God's ears, maybe. I definitely hope that is the case because we have definitely need multiple different paradigm shifts, pretty much in everything, but especially in medicine and healthcare. So yeah, that's awesome. One of the things you mentioned is the various tests. You mentioned 60 biomarkers. How are what you guys do different than when I go to my conventional medicine doctor and he takes like the 8 biomarkers or she, whatever it is, and will say everything's fine. And I know that that's not true. Subjectively, I know that perhaps that's not true, but I also know that his or her understanding of it is like average. I don't want to be average. I want to be optimized. Like how do your guys, doctors, think differently compared to the conventional medicine doctors to go to take your 60 biomarkers and understand them differently to actually go to whatever the condition is to more of an optimized condition, as opposed to like, oh, you're just like everyone else. You're okay. Well, I don't want to be like everyone else. Not everyone else is really not okay. Does that make sense as a question for you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't know about your doctor, but in the last 20 years, I've never had a blood test. My doctor never recommended it. Maybe that's what they're doing, but I know very few of my friends that go to the doctor and get a blood test every year. Maybe it's happening more and more. Uh, you might have a BMI of 24, but have visceral fat all over your body. You're only going to get that from a DEXA scan.
Yeah.
The scale is meaningless, right? So I think you need to do additional testing. Every woman, to quote Peter Tia, thank you, last Sunday on 60 Minutes, over the age 40 should have a DEXA scan,
For bone, for mineral,
bone density, and every guy over 45 because you got to get in front of that stuff early.
I had mine done 2 weeks ago, by the way.
You did.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I'm up to 12% body fat.
Yeah, I'm higher.
Okay.
Hard to believe. Um,
Yeah.
taking some time off the bike, starting a company. But I don't know if that answers your question. I just don't think conventional medicine is really set up for this. A lot of docs don't even understand longevity. Some do. They're starting clinics. You see a lot of physicians around the country are starting longevity.
Yeah, I have seen that. You know, I think as a general phenomenon, I think it's a good idea, but I have some concerns. I would be curious on if you share these similar concerns. Look, for instance, I see these ketamine clinics emerging. Yeah, ketamine as a medication, antidepressant and anti-anxiety psychedelic, which I think is like, oh, great. There's options for people besides the various pharmaceuticals that most people take for depression and for anxiety. And the ketamine seems to be helpful for a large subset of people. However, people are not trained in actually how to handle altered states of consciousness or non-ordinary states of consciousness. If you're trained in the DSM-5 as a psychologist or you're conventionally trained psychiatrist, when people take ketamine and induce these really interesting phenomenal states, according to psychiatry, it's schizophrenia or some version of the same.
Hmm.
It's not a spiritual experience. So the people opening these clinics are not necessarily trained to actually work in a holistic way with their clients. I wonder if that's similar to some of these longevity clinics where the doctor might just be like, oh, there's a couple things, like here's a pill you can take, and maybe there's a couple of supplements, maybe a couple of peptides. They're very narrowly focused and they're not necessarily looking at interpersonal relationships because we know that the relationships are a key to longevity. So you're not alone. You feel like you're part of a community. Nutrition, which is a part of your program, physical fitness. I mean, Peter T is amazing on the physical fitness side of things. Like, you should be moving so you can keep moving as you get older. And there's like a whole bunch of other factors involved that I could imagine some of these longevity clinics are not going to take into consideration because the doctor's not is narrowly focused. Is that some of your experience in some of these spaces?
So I haven't worked with any of the clinics, so I
Okay.
can't speak for the clinics, but I could see how a regional clinic might not utilize resources outside of the clinic, whereas we might. Now, right now, we're currently only we're 5 doctors. We're
Yeah, yeah.
California, New York, Connecticut, Texas, and Florida. So it'd be in all 50 states. We are a full medical practice, but if there's a procedure or something that needs to be done, we either we bring in your own doctor or we refer you out. And I mentioned those 6 tests. A lot of people are doing cancer screening. A lot of people are doing RNA and DNA testing. Some people don't want to see it because it's going to tell you something about your genetics, um, um, but rather than, being a specialist in genomics, I've got Peter Attia's clinic right down the street here in California where we have a lot of clients, Biograph. So it's a wonderful genomics clinic. They've got an amazing reputation. He's not the only one. But when you get into, some of the other modalities that we're not experienced with, I think, I'm not our medical team, but I think it's going to be all about outsourcing those to the right people, matching people with the right doctor.
I think that's beautiful and amazing and more of a network way of thinking about things. But also, from what I understand about what you guys offer in house, it's pretty comprehensive. I mean, I heard you talk about the nutritionist and the exercise physiologist, you have the medical team. So you're taking a much more holistic approach on human health and well-being.
And sourcing. One of our he's not a patient because he's too sick to be a patient. Unfortunately, he's lost both his kidneys and or is losing both his kidneys, and he needs a liver transplant. And he's been passed all around Mayo Clinic. He was an alcoholic, completely reformed, but once an alcoholic, he's sort of been blacklisted. So we're using some of our resources to get him to UCSF and see if we can, find him a part of a liver. Um, but you can, and the same thing for clinical trials, right? If we have all your data, we know everything about you, and something comes up, you want to know about a clinical trial. There's companies that will connect you, but why not do it through your own profile? It's your data, not my data.
Right, right, right. I love that. So, where can people learn more about longevity health and besides going to the website, which you'll share with me, like what's the process of like someone's like listening to this or viewing this, or like, man, that sounds perfect. 11K for a year, that's fine. Like I can
Yeah,
live.
it's longevityhealth.me, longevityhealth.me, and you can just schedule a free consultation, and we just talk to you for 15 minutes, and it's not to sell you, it's just see if it's something you think it's right for you.
to
Uh,
California, New York, Texas,
Florida.
Florida. Okay, those are the 4 states you're in.
I think we're not in Texas yet. Connecticut, New York, Florida, and California. We're about to be in Texas and soon to be all 50 states. That's the first one. And then I don't know if you can post these later. We have another site, which is ai.longevityhealth.me.
Oh,
That's
that's right.
beta, which I'm going to show you because we're take all this $11,000 stuff and throw it out the window. This is eventually going to be $10 a month. And we're testing a platform right now for around $79 a month. It's AI plus human in the loop. So it's everything that I just discussed, our whole longevity program with doctors. But there's a lot of AI. You onboard with AI. AI analyzes all your data. No offense to our physicians, it's better than the doctor, but there's still a doctor in the loop. So that's ai.longevityhealth.me. And then we're only looking for about 20 more patients to do that beta.
You're going to show me something, or is that what?
Yeah, sure. I actually can share my desktop. This is going to be video, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, here, let me see if I can.
Nothing embarrassing on your desktop.
Are you, no, are you seeing healthy?
No, I'm seeing my email to you.
Oh, let's see here. How about now?
I'm seeing, something showed up and then just disappeared.
I'm using two screens.
All right. Next appointment, post an entry.
Got it. All right. So this is our, now I'm on Facebook. Okay. Hope I didn't post anything bad for you.
Exactly.
Where did it go? Hold on. Here it is right here. All right. So whether you're an AI customer or a billionaire bundle customer, all of your data is stored on a server. Okay. Let me move this over a little bit so you can see it. So I can chat with my doctors. I can also use a Slack channel, and you can see all my documents. Are these showing up? Are you seeing my documents?
And your longevity plans, session notes, client resources, patient summary.
Right. Yeah. So let's, just click on my blood work. You can see the blood work that I recently had done. Let's go back and take a look at, let's click OK here. Let's go back and take a look at my VO2 work. I mentioned it was a little bit low, and I'm just going to give my little AI companion a call here. It's called Jesse. Ask Jesse. Jesse is actually our founder and CEO. It's a nice, somewhat feminine, masculine combo name, so that's what we're using right now. So I'm just going to give it a call and just ask it a quick question about my VO2 max. Here, let me go to recents. And where are you, Jesse? Okay, here we go. Just give a call.
This is Jesse. Good health. How have things been going for you?
Hey, pretty good. I'm on a podcast with a buddy of mine, Michael Ostrolenk. Say hello to him, and I'll introduce you to him. He might want to try our beta test for our new platform. In the meantime, could you just share with me my recent VO2 max test results and kind of a couple things that I could do to improve it?
Well, it's a pleasure. VO2 max from July 11th, 2020 showed a peak of 45.4 milliliters per kilogram per minute. Really good result for your age. To improve it further, we could focus on incorporating more high-intensity interval training and ensuring you're well hydrated and have nutritional strategy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Does that data kind of correlate with any of the other data I put in, like my blood test?
VO2 max specifically measures your cardiovascular fitness. It definitely correlates with other health markers. For instance, good cardiovascular fitness like yours generally supports better metabolic health, which we see reflected in your blood test. We've also discussed your blood showing an elevated BUN2 creatinine ratio, low insulin, and elevated FH, which point to some renal stress and hormonal shifts. Your VO2 max being strong is a positive, but it also highlights the importance of addressing these other areas through hydration, nutrition, and targeted training to ensure everything is working optimally together.
That's great. Go ahead and send me my latest plan. I want to share it on this call. Just text it to me, okay? See ya.
Oh my God, Hunter.
So let me just hit the stop share button.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like talking to a doctor. It learns my behavior. My first conversation was more about my mother, my father, my history, my life, anxiety, depression, sports, marriage. We haven't got into mental counseling, but that's coming. I mean, it's going to be a full version of Her, the movie Her.
Okay.
You all remember that with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
And in fact, there's all these like sexy avatars now on it's showing up on my Facebook. You can create like your hot boyfriend or girlfriend in AI. You can talk sexy to it, but people are going to become more and more used to talking to AI. It's not fully ready yet. There's some latency, there's some wonkiness. AI still makes mistakes. AI is not fully ready for prime. The regulatory environment is not fully endorsing AI yet, but it will. It will replace your doctor someday. It'll prescribe medicine. It will order lab tests. It will compare notes. It'll keep lab notes. It'll notify you of all kinds of shit that you need to be focused on. And then eventually, consumers will sort of come around to it. Right now, the driverless car in San Francisco is accepted, but in Texas or in Minnesota, it's not. Right? Driverless doctors. You got to keep the doctor in the passenger seat. He's and the AI is in residency right now. It's learning, so we're training this LLM. But the data, the stuff you can do with data is incredible. And then lastly, I'll get on my sort of dream. This is the the trillion-dollar company. $10 a month or even free, where all your data is in this server. It's your data. It's being analyzed, and then we gamify it. And we create groups, women's over 60 with osteoporosis of greater Cincinnati lifting weights together, right? Or, fat fuckers over 300, Minnesota, right? And then when you get to 250, you get kicked out of the 300. And when you get to, and so on, just make it fun and gamify it. And make the app like have a check engine light on it. Like, hey, Michael, you piece of shit. We noticed you've been traveling in Europe for the last 2 weeks. We know you ate like crap. Or we've booked a trip to Venezuela, right? You want to go there now, Venezuela? No, not Venezuela. You don't want to go there. Argentina. Argentina's safe now.
Did by Maduro thinking you're a CIA plant or something.
Yeah, no, Argentina. And by the way, here's some great food options based on your diet. Or you're walking through Whole Foods and it says, hey, Michael, we see you've become a vegan. I know you're not, but here's 5 healthy food items on sale on aisle 3 at Whole Foods from the various sponsoring companies, right? Or hey, we see you're having sleep issues. Here's 30% off on an 8 Sleep product from our partner 8 Sleep. We'll never charge for that. We just want $5 or $10 a month. But gamification is I don't know how it's going to be hard to do because people say, oh, Americans don't care about their health. They actually do. They don't have the tools or the money or the resources to do anything about it. And right now, there's another huge problem. I'm running on here, but people are being confused by all the stuff being thrown at them. Function health tests, gut biome tests, superpower, function health, Viome. They're all great companies. We use them, but like, which ones are right for you? Hypobaric oxygen chambers, peptides, all this crap. So the key is to get some baseline biomarkers. First of all, what do you want to do? What's the ask, right? Why are you doing this? What do you want to achieve? Let's get as much data as we can, and more data is becoming available. Let's throw it in a big pot and analyze it with AI, and then come up with a plan to hold you accountable to change your behavior. That's going to be the toughest thing here, changing behavior.
Yeah. And that's part of my field. So I do recognize that it is tough for people to change their behaviors. But obviously the key to making the changes you want is to both change your mindset, your way of showing up, and the way you actually act in the world. And having an AI companion to either kick your ass or to be friendly to you, depending how you want to be treated.
Hey, you can set it be an ass or be nice, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to tell you look great. It's going to say, hey, dude, you're not looking. Well, a selfie picture, there's all kinds of apps now that you can look at your skin tones and all that stuff. We're not using it, but it's like, oh my God, what happened to you over the weekend? You know what I'm talking about? It's like your friend's giving you a hard time,
Right.
So, yeah.
So you said that's in beta. Do you have an expectation like when that?
What I just showed you is in beta now. People can sign up for it. We're looking for a few more patients, preferably in those states. Again, it's ai.longevityhealth.me.
Okay.
And we just started this a week ago.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't.
And you get a doctor. It's almost like getting the billionaire bundle for $1,000 a year. You just have to pay for your own tests, or you can BYOT, bring your own tests. You can upload your own tests. So if you've been a superpower, function health, or Viome, or any other test you've had done, throw it all in. We can analyze it with the AI, and the physicians will look at it.
It's amazing. You and I should talk offline about that because I have some ideas for you. For longevity health, one more time, where can people find the website and the other website for the AI one?
Yeah, so longevityhealth.me is our main site, and the beta is ai.longevityhealth.me.
That's awesome. Hunter, great to have this conversation with you and laying out the future of healthcare in our world today. Appreciate you.
Thank you.